What's up and welcome to Idle Insights, a show where each week I, Treavor Bettis, talk to interesting people about idle champions and Dungeons and Dragons. And joining me this week is returning guest Trystan Falcone. Hello!
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. I was so excited to see you on the calendar.
Yeah, I was
It
excited
was
to come
one of those
back.
times where I'm like, yes, easy show. I can talk to them so easily.
Thank you. The feeling's mutual.
Yay! Well, Trista, in case there are people in the chat that somehow don't know who you are, who are you for those fine folks you may not know?
Okay, I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Trystan Falcone. I use he, him, or they, them, and I play Walnut Dawngrass on Acquisitions Incorporated C Team. You may know her from the game that we all know and love,
Yep.
Idle Champions. And she is I almost said rootin' tootin'. She is not rooting and she is not tooting. In fact, she is a curmudgeonly.
But now I need that. Like, I need the
Yeah, I
rootin'
know.
tootin'
Now I
like
do need
cowboy
that.
walnut.
Yeah, dang. All right, well, that's different. That's a different walnut. The one that I play is the champion of the wilderness. And she is the staunchly curmudgeonly, kind of a stick in the mud, which is appropriate for a druid. So
It's true. It's true. And I feel also for a documancer. Like, that is
yes.
I don't see like the cheery person behind the desk as a documancer.
I think if you have to do bureaucracy as your whole job, and in fact you love it, you love it, ironically you love it. You're not the happiest person. And I say this as a person that has to do it and actually does enjoy it. The character is far off from me, the human.
That anytime I see a character like that, I just think of Hermes Conrad from
Yes,
Futurama. It's just
100%.
yeah, it's like, well, you're probably into limbo if you're that excited about it.
Yes, exactly. 100%. I love him.
uh well, just before we start talking about Walnut and a bunch of fun things I got here on the list, I last time I did the icebreaker question of how'd you get into D&D,
All
and
right.
I figured this time we could change it around to, can you tell me about the first time you DM'd?
Oh gosh. What a horrible, wonderful experience it was.
Okay, maybe this was the best question to
No,
start
it's
off on.
good. No, it's good. It's just it's on camera. And so
Oh, is it?
so the first time I ever DM'd was for a charity event with Acquisitions Inc. And Mike, who plays Jim Dark Magic, was one of my players swapped out for me, and then I played with the other members of the C team. That's Rosie B. Singer, Kathra Straub, and Dinar Blitzen. And I should get a medal for remembering that it's Kathra Straub and not the human that plays it,
Yep.
Chris Straub.
The first time that got announced on stage, I just remember like, that's terribly brilliant. I hate how much I love that.
I hate it. I love it. Exactly.
I know.
So I was DMing for that crew, an adventure I wrote based all around Walnut, and it was a live stream also. And I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I make myself look very silly, which is fine anyway. It was honestly, it was great. And I realized Kate, who plays Rosie, Kate Welch, she would gas me up for it by being like, DMing's actually no big deal. This is the secret that no DM wants you to know. It's really easy. And she's right. It's really approachable.
Yeah.
And I had built it up in my head. And so if you can learn anything from my experience is, if you're scared to do something, don't do it on camera the first time. Unless you're gonna do it for charity, good cause. And that DMing is not scary. And that we should all endeavor to give our DMs a break and sit in the chair once in a while.
That is kind of the secret for me of like getting to be a player, is that like I do kind of like I'll find a player that I'm like, I see you wanting to do DM stuff, and I'll do what Kate did, where I'm like gassing them up, like, this is so easy, you got this, you could do it. I'm just gonna be over here as a player and not have to prep every week.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, or be like, my specialty is one shots, and you only ever run the same one shot, but for different people.
that is a good one. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm getting to be a player for like the majority of this year right now. For like I have no plans to DM right now, and it's fantastic. And I'm like, the plans worked.
Yes. I'm not playing any D&D right now. This is the
Oh.
most thing. This is the closest to playing D&D is us having this conversation that I'm having this year so far. So this is an open call to the universe.
Yes.
I got to roll the bones.
I do love you say though that Kate was gassing up for that because I had Kate on the show last week
Yeah.
and like before the show got going like she and I started talking about writing in the pre-show and she was like we had just met and she's gassing me up about writing. I'm just like yeah I want to go right now.
I think she has the superpower to make anyone feel like they can do anything, but because she feels like that about you, you actually can, which is a power she uses for good. But imagine.
Oh, the greatest of masterminds. I believe you could rob that bank. You got
I was
it
just
in
gonna
you.
say bank robbing. Why did we both go there?
That Kate just gives off bank robbing mastermind energy.
I could mastermind a heist. I think she could. She looked good doing it too. Dang, Kate.
If Kate has not said the words "I could mastermind a heist" at some point in her life, I won't believe that.
Wow. Yeah, now we need to do another show where it's just us interviewing her about how she would do a heist. That's for a separate thing.
Yeah, that'll be the next Idle Insight special.
Yes.
Well, Trystan, we're here today to talk about Walnut. Tell me, you described her as the curmudgeonly druid, but tell the audience about Walnut. Who is she really?
Who is she?
Let's do the Oprah interview for Walnut.
Yeah.
Tell me all of her deepest secrets.
Yeah, sure, totally. So the thing I like about Walnut, and I mean, you can't engage with her and not come to terms with this, is that she is by all intents and purposes, she was like the last survivor of her particular, Druid's Grove. And when she was a wee one, she didn't really want to kind of go into the family business of, being a druid. She wanted to go be some, adventurer out in the world, and then had a lot of guilt for, that later in life. And then now being on this quest, when we follow her in the C team to rebuild her grove, she did get to do the thing that she wanted to do anyway, which is go out into the world and adventure and, really kind of see all of or many of the things that the world has to offer. I put a lot of myself into this character where I'm from like a very, very small little fishing village traditionally, and then coming and moving out to a big city. So to Walnut was like, very sheltered past, and then gets thrown out into the Forgotten Realms, and thinks that the tiny little town of Red Larch is like a big city, and then goes to Waterdeep, basically loses her mind because it's so big, and then we go spell jamming and everything else. But she is a type of person where she's she believes in the things that she believes in, and she is like a true lawful neutral character where she has her own set of rules, and even if they are not the societal set of rules, she will follow them to the ends of the earth. And I love that. I would love to also continue to be very dedicated to one thing. As an ADHD person, I find that aspirational.
Yeah.
She's just got one hobby and she's just like really into it. I'm like, I couldn't be me, and I wish.
That sounds like the dream.
She's organized. She can do all her own paperwork, chores, and she's really focused. So yeah, I'm actually discovering right now in this moment that I made my sort of perfect Sona.
You're making me want to do the make a D&D character. I'm just like, what if I just made a D&D character whose special ability was focus? Just had the ability to focus in on one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow. I'm really actually living in this rich tapestry that I've
No, it's so true though with the ADHD of that, because I made the decision 10 years ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stop making fun of things that I'm not interested in yet, because there may
Yeah.
become a day where that's my whole thing now. Because I've done
Oh
that
yeah.
so many times.
I can't describe to you how many different like hobby objects I
Oh
have
yeah.
like around this table right now, whether it's like these cassettes I have on deck to repair. I have wargaming stuff down by my knee over here, and then I have just a lot of fiber art stuff also over here. You can't see this, but this blur back here is also a lot of plants.
I'm now looking around. I'm like, yes, a card game I haven't played yet. I got into Five Nights recently.
See? This is it. This is what I'm talking about.
Special
But
interest desk.
it I mean, it kind of is. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's my superpowers, right? I certainly can't make the plants do what I want, but wow, I'm really good at learning everything about them, everything that they like, and then just being like really, really good at taking care of these 5 type of plants when I remember.
It's true. It's true. Well, recently, Walnut got a new skin for the game that Lauren may be putting up on the screen, either covering me up Mike Wazowski style or below. But yeah, venture casual Walnut. I wanted to talk about the
Yes.
design for this.
Let's
Where
talk about it.
what was what like I assume that they came to you and were like, we got the name venture casual. What does that
Yes.
invoke to you? So where did this idea come from?
So it's really funny. They came and they were like, it's venture casual. And I said, okay, I'm interested what that means. And I was given like some other examples because I was like, I immediately thought I have an idea of what this means. And I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Um, and it goes without saying, every time I am working with the design team here, our team, like they alchemize whatever kind of word vomit I bring into something wonderful. So I just said like I want that scrappy newsboy kind of look. And
That's perfect.
we get this walnut with like the hat, the wonderful little coat and the kerchief, and then the sword being like a folded paper,
I
like
didn't actually notice that when I looked at it.
it's like hitting stuff with a rolled up newspaper. I was like, this is incredible. And then obviously that gets translated into the wolf where it's like a little like if you take your dog hiking, the backpack you would put on a wolf with the hat and like the little I just got groomed kerchief. I was like, I know it's not very like dignified for like a dire wolf, but I'm like, oh, but she looks so cute.
I absolutely look. I mean, like, obviously the inspiration there for Walnut herself, but like when I saw the wolf, I'm like, oh man, Newsies is gonna be wild this year.
Yes. No, yeah, it's like, okay, I want to do a production. I want to do 2019 cats, except it's Newsies and it's furries and it's now.
Oh no.
And actually, I would be very pro that. I would be front row center to that production if I was not stage managing that production
Oh,
myself.
we got to get Christian Bale back for that one.
Oh my God. Okay, now here's a great question, just real quick, and we're just gonna think about it.
Oh yeah, here we
Do
go.
do I think Christian Bale would play a dynamite furry? Yeah, I do actually. I think he would put his like whole self into it. He might actually like,
Think about the dedication that Christian Bale does on things.
oh,
Like
he would live in a
he,
fursuit
he's
for
just like
too long.
he's like I went to every furry convention for 2 years straight to get ready for this role.
100%. He's like going to the 1 week long event in Vegas. I don't remember what it's called. It's not Fur Fright. I'm sorry, furries that are watching this and are mad at me for not remembering. I'm mad at me too. It would have been very cool if I pulled that out. But no, Christian Bale just being in character. And he's like,
Oh
my
god.
persona is something like he's like a deer, like a sparkly blue deer. And you're like, yeah, Christian Bale. Hell yeah.
Oh, you know what, chat? This is our gift to you of a thought exercise of what is Christian Bale's persona.
For real. Wow. What a thought experiment that I'll be thinking about later into today, certainly.
Just what'd you do today? I did a D&D interview where we talked about Christian Bale's persona, and now that's all I can think about.
Yeah, and then I had to go get back to work on actual D&D, and I'm just really thinking about Christian Bale's persona. So the work today was a little weird.
I'm gonna write adventures after this, so who knows what's gonna happen there.
I'll give you a guess. The Prestige.
Oh yes, well, yes. Um, but yeah, this venture casual skin is fantastic. Like
I
even
love it.
just the hair coming down under the hat for Walnut, so
It
good.
really, honestly, I think this one is it is so special because it is such a wonderful like turn of her fantasy attire into what real world attire would look like. When I
Hmm.
saw like that long coat with like the seam down the side and then the little gold
Yeah.
leaf clasp and stuff, I was like, and wearing the badge up on the hat, I was like, nailed it. The team just nailed it, and it's perfect. I honestly think I was like no notes except for like making sure the feathers were adjusted. That was about it.
That is like I want to give our art team the nickname of no notes because like how many times I hear people was just like I think it was Kate last week that was like I felt like I just had to give a note, so I just gave this really minute thing, but it was absolutely perfect.
I've definitely given feedback where it's like it looks like there's a note on it, and the note is, "I love this. I'm crying. Thank you." God,
Those are the best notes.
talented.
Yeah. Yeah, the venture casual group, just kind of in general, like all of them had this like such great cohesion because it wasn't like not like obviously there was differences in them between each character that still very much invoked them, but like there's definitely this great style that was pulled together through all of them that just makes the group look so good together. I love it.
I think the Evelyn one is the first one that I saw, and
Mm,
it's like, oh yeah, like this is Anna for sure.
we were
Wasn't
looking at the Rosie Beestinger one last week,
the Bee
and
Stinger one is so
it's so
good.
good. It's so good.
I love anything Rosie though, because she is like so Walnut's grandma. So I do sometimes, even though I know it's Kate's character, we'll be like proud, like I'm like, go grandma, you look great.
Well, like we were talking about that last week of like the kind of the motherly side of Rosie and how
Hmm.
many characters she's done that for, and I do feel like there is like a big group of people who have that kind of in their hearts of Rosie. It's just like, well, yeah, but I feel special about her because she's my grandma.
It's a kind of wild, like having that, because that campaign went on for like, basically 5 years straight,
Yeah.
and then has just kind of wonderfully continued as a thread through my personal human life. So there are definitely moments where I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Rosie would be disappointed. I'm like, a real, and you know what? Doesn't matter if it motivates me and makes me a better human on this earth. That
I
I'm
think that's
like,
great.
my friend's D&D character would be very upset at me if I did this choice right now.
I think that's the best excuse you could give in real life, honestly.
Also, at my job, it really flies. So,
That's fair. That's really fair.
just being like, listen, you're paying me to think about elves. If I'm using some character as a moral compass, it's fine.
I mean, like, I've definitely been in meetings where someone's been like, "Okay, this is a great idea, but I was playing D&D last night, and
See, exactly.
and it's relevant."
I love it.
So good.
You can really work a lot of stuff out in D&D. Hence my Walnut character.
Exactly, exactly. Well, actually, I wanted to talk to you a bit about your work at Wizards of the Coast, because
Yeah.
so you actually better yet, why don't you tell the folks in chat what you do there?
Oh my gosh. Great. I love trying to explain my job.
I
It's
know. Like that
so
was the thing. I was like,
easy.
I feel like I'm gonna mess this up, so I'm just gonna go
No,
to the source.
let me do it. Let me see if I try and do it. So I work for D&D. I work with the Imaginative Play Group. They make for example, the books that you would pick up. And I'm talking about the physical books, not I mean, it gets translated into D&D Beyond. That's like a different team.
Physical books.
But but yes, exactly. You have a non-blurred out background, so we your physical books. So what I do as a graphic designer is we take the words from the design team, the game design team, and we take the art from the artists and the art directors. And if you were to just kind of put them on a page with no graphic design work, it would look like if you opened up a Word document and just kind of splashed all that stuff in there on a white page. What we do is we'll take the art and the like setting, and we will create a look and a feel so that everything kind of feels at home with itself. So like I worked on the Spelljammer books. So for example, everything was like very ethereal. We masked out masking is like taking away from an image. You'll take, we took out some like galaxy looking patterns on stuff, so it felt really soft. Sometimes you'll apply, you know, different types of textiles, but essentially what I'm doing, if I've done my job right, it's a cliche, you won't have noticed I've done anything at all, because you'll just open it up and go, yeah, this is a book about whatever, Eberron, and it looks like it's set in Eberron. Like that truly is it. Now my day-to-day is, I just say I'm a pixel pusher, just kind of moving the pixels from side to side.
I love that title.
I love it too, because some days you're concepting and you're thinking about something and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to take like the essence of a displacer beast and like bring that onto the page without using, you know, art or words to do it. Like I can only use textures and colors and type and that kind of thing. And then some days I'm like, haha, I'm resizing boxes for hours. Which actually, that's what Kate Welch told me, plays Rosie, when I started doing design work, and she, you know, had also been a UI designer, UX UI designer. And she goes, yeah, I just tell people I resize boxes in Photoshop all day. And that really kind of explains it.
I that is a good one, but Pixel Pusher is like, that needs to be the name of a video game. That's so good.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, instead of papers, please, it's pixels, please. And it's me just with a broom shoveling them.
So like, you know, obviously, you know, we both live the NDA life. So I asked this question with care of just like, so what were some of the projects that came out like within the last year that you got to work with?
Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna list stuff that I remember. So I worked on, which just came out, the Book of Many Things, the companion piece to the Deck of Many Things, which was so fun. It's like an occult tarot inspired, piece that has a companion book to it. We got to do like layouts in it that I would never have expected to get to do. And my fellow graphic designer had come up with this concept of using like these really rich like purple and gold and like black splotches to just like really elevate the card art. That was so fun. I did a piece that was not part of a mechanical book, but it's the refresh of the Practically Complete Guide to Dragons.
Oh, you worked on that?
Yes. Okay.
I picked that up. It's so good.
That is like my favorite thing that I've gotten to work on, because it was just like this, like I essentially got this 15-year-old book that they were like, we want to refresh the look of. And I got to do this concept and pitch for it being like, okay, well, what if it was like a field guide? And I got to do like all of these little paper textures over it. And you could, the narrative characters, Sindri Suncatcher, it's a little Kender. So like from the Dragonlance world. And you know, I get to do like his handwriting and like what he thinks about all the dragons. And he's not right about everything, but he has a lot of opinions. And that's honestly, I think that's my favorite thing that I've worked on so far, just because it was like it was such like a bespoke piece where it's like every page is totally different. And it was just so fun. I love that one.
I described it to my friends as like, it is a book from the Forgotten Realms that we get to read.
Yes.
Like,
that is my favorite thing, honestly, like, is when you have something that feels like it's like totally part of the world that it's actually from. Like, I think about it all the time when I'm like, if you were to play like the old Myst games or something like that, right? Like, or even old Blizzard's games, like if you're gonna play like Diablo, and I want to say like Hearthstone's like this too. Everything is like skeuomorphic, so it looks like the thing that it is. So in Diablo, your health and your mana were like actual liquids, and they would drain as you you know, like took damage or used them or whatever. And in the Myst games, like when you were solving puzzles, you were doing it on actual like what looked like little physical objects. And so for that, I kind of like to do this in like all my work, is bring in something that feels like real. Because that's what I want. I want to feel like it's like never ending story, right? I want to feel like I picked up the book in the library and like I found this like real magical secret thing. And I think about like if I was, younger me and I was picking up a thing I was working on, like what would I want to see?
It's so wild that you said Never Ending Story, because like I had the book of it, and I remember telling my wife, I'm like, just as a heads up, if I ever find a copy of this book that looks like the book from the movie with the medallion in the middle,
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
gonna cry. Like I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna cry.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. But no, that sort of stuff is like my absolute favorite. Like you mentioned Diablo, and
Mhm.
I actually just bought this book set because they do these like lore books for like
Yeah.
since Diablo 3, and they're all named after books from the games. And
Yes.
then
I
you
love
take
it.
them out, and they have a thing around that says, like Diablo logo and everything on that, and then you get to take that off and throw it away, and it's just the book as it
Yes.
looks, and it's so cool.
I love that. I think it's so fun. So like that's another part of the thing that I do, which people don't really, you don't need to think about this, because there are sickos like me that think about it. But I mean, honestly, but I mean, like how things are packaged, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, for example, like we'll take like the deck of many things 'cause it just came out. You can Google it, you can look at it, whatever.
Hmm.
But you're gonna get it, and everything is gonna be packaged in a case, like a slip case, right?
Hmm.
A thing that you're supposed to slip off, and then maybe it's gone. Maybe it like gets, you know, bonked around at the game store with the other stuff next to it, whatever. And then, what is the keepsake box inside? What is the thing that you're gonna keep it in? What is like the way in which you're going to experience this every other time you use it? So like as much as it's like this is such a term, but like what is that kind of like unboxing moment for you where you're experiencing it for the first time and you have a thing that maybe you pre-ordered and you're really excited about? And like I think about that a lot when I get something that's really exciting, like a game I've been waiting for, or
Yeah.
like even when I got the Animal Crossing Switch when it came out. And it was like opening it up and like just like the way that it smelled, like how the Joy-Cons felt, all the colors and like everything being Animal Crossing themed.
Hmm.
Like that's the kind of stuff that's like I actually like do care a lot about that initial like how players who are excited about stuff like get to meet our stuff, get to meet the thing that like we loved and we hope that they love or like or get to just play with.
Hmm.
It's very sappy, but that is I do get to I'm lucky I get to spend a lot of time like empathizing with other fans
Hmm.
and what their experience of the D&D stuff I'm working on is going to be like. Hi, I love my job.
Yay! Well, here I'll make it more snappy for you. I was sick when my deck of many things box arrived,
Mm.
and like I just been feeling terrible, and I got to sit on my bed and have that unboxing moment. And my wife, like, I took the slipcase off, and my wife is just like, "We're not throwing this away. This is pretty. I'm
I
going."
know. It's so nice. That's the problem. We're like, what is the not nice thing we put it in that people
Yeah.
don't?
Well, like, cause I told her like the premise of it and everything, and like
Mm.
the characters in it, and she like as soon as she saw that artwork on the front, like she just fell in love with it, and she's like, she's like, I don't normally say this, but I want to frame like I know this is a box,
I
but I
know.
want to take this off and frame it. But yeah, like
I
the box
love
for the
that.
cards and everything was just, it was like I got to open it, just like, hey, look at that.
It's funny. It's something that's like thinking about the overlap. Like, so I said I've been getting into wargaming, but like looking at a Warhammer box where they have, the aspirational, like, here's all your minis. They're
Oh
painted,
yeah.
they're on terrain, they're set up in a way where it's like they look exciting. Maybe they're about to like fight someone, whatever. And you can like really picture yourself like, I'm playing a game with these and
Yeah.
I'm like enjoying it. I'm with friends or whatever. And yeah, hearing that like you got to have like like an experience of like unboxing and being like, I'm miserable, I'm sick, but here is
It
like a
really
little
did
moment of
brighten my day.
joy.
It really, really did. Like getting to go through all the cards and sitting there with the card book. It was so nice.
I audience know I'm gonna clip this, and when things are hard at work, I'll be like, look, someone experienced joy.
I
Yay,
did.
I can push a pixel today.
Yes. It was funny though. You're talking about the wargaming thing where like the ones on
Mhm.
the box. Like I have, oh no, a lot of unpainted, unbuilt Warhammer minis. And
Yeah.
I look at the back of the boxes, and I'm just kind of I'm that little girl from that meme of just like, That's nice. Wish I could have it.
I wish I could have it though. No, 100%. Yeah, no, for me, it's the meme where it's like, hey, if he could get anything done, he'd be really upset right now. Instead of if those kids could read. I'm not even joking. My laptop is literally up on some Age of Sigma
My friend
unpainted
just
minis right now.
My friend literally before the show messaged me a video of how to play Old World because
Yes.
he's getting into that and he's like, I'm gonna paint an army for you. We're gonna go up to Irvine. We're gonna play for like 18 hours.
Oh my gosh. So this is this is the dark path you tried. Listen, sometimes if you like things and you're too much of a nerd about them, watch out, audience, because it'll be all you think about all the time, and you won't spend a lot of time doing the hobby.
Well, I mean, like I was saying earlier, like I've stopped making fun of things in case I one day, because like I used to make fun of D&D, and I'm like, hey, so that's my whole life now.
That's the monkey's paw, right?
Yeah.
That is the monkey's paw, is being like, well, at least I'm not into this thing. And then like it was like the day that I realized that like LARPing, those people have so much more outgoing social skills
God,
than I do. And I was like, oh, okay, so like they're really good at talking to people in a way that I would be in the corner like, I'm amazed. And have like I remember being in university watching the campus LARPing group being like, and they just walk up and talk to each other. How do I do that?
It wasn't the rules. It wasn't the fantasy side. They just walked up and talked to each other.
I know. So Smash got to me playing like 500 hours of Elden Ring by myself, and I'm like, I would love to share this with anyone.
But
Oh
I mean, also 500 hours of Elden Ring. That's time well spent. That's time well spent right there.
It's time extremely well spent.
I mean, my wife and I essentially had a date night on Saturday night that consisted of me sitting there playing Bloodborne while she's looking up the bosses and be like, get him with the fire paper, get him with the fire paper.
This is my favorite. Okay, I love calling these these are acoustic let's plays because you're doing a let's play for one. It's just one person.
Oh, I love acoustic let's play. I'm gonna tell her that. She's gonna love that.
Like, hey, let's do a let's play unplugged tonight for date night. And I'm gonna stream to an audience of one.
I
And
love that.
it's like a type of couch co-op because
Yeah.
someone doesn't need to beat the boss. It's like when I have to repeat doing a thing over and over, I'm like, no, I'm so used to from D&D encounters over and I won or I failed it. And then we just move on and I don't have to face my failures, really.
Oh, I love that. Acoustic let's play. I'm gonna remember that one.
Welcome.
So you actually got one of my questions already because I was gonna ask like what project are you most proud of? And I mean that dragon book absolutely knocked out of the park. So
Yeah, it's definitely that one. Or one of the first projects I worked on when I had started was a crossover book we did with Magic, which is the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. Wow. I should get a medal for remembering that title also. And
I may or may not just always go, the Theros book.
You know, watch someone right now is correcting me being like, actually it's Mythical Odysseys. And I'm like, all right, you're right and I'm wrong. Dang it. But I got to do iconography for all of the gods in that one. And then the lead graphic designer on that project went over them. I remember watching her in a meeting. This is also Trish. She's so great. Watching her in a meeting and she was just drawing little constellations. I remember asking her, I'm like, what are those for? And she's like, I think I'm going to make constellations based off of your icons and I'll lay those over the icons and then make them look like they're like celestial paintings. And so I had handed her these like black and white icons. And if you go in that book and you look at it, they're like very lovingly rendered. There's all these textures over them. There's like starlight she put over it. And there's like these custom constellations she made then just to be like, oh yeah, there you go. We're like referencing like the Nyx, the like starlight.
Yeah.
I was just like, these people that I work with are amazing. It just always pushes me to like be like, how can I make things just like a little more special? But I guarantee anyone like watching this, has anyone ever noticed that? Probably not, because she did a good job.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, this is the stuff that like I am a nerd for when it comes to like books and stuff. Like, I will complain. My wife has to listen to me complain when I get a new RPG book, and I'm just like, it's just not on theme, you know? There's just nothing in it. Like, I got the Star Trek RPG, and it's literally covered in, like, the computer style from Next Gen. And I ran into the bedroom, and I'm like, look at this!
I love that. Honestly, there's times where I will be, like, working on something, and I'll be like, and this is a reference to the enemy at the end of the game. No one's gonna know about this except me, but every time I open this book, I'm gonna be like, yay, I'm making JPEGs for me and maybe one other person.
I think that's
like,
the best thing to do.
it's so fun. Just getting like those little touches of lore in things.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it.
I've done that in Adventures for Idle Champions, where I wrote a line. I went, "That is a joke for me and me only."
Yeah, jokes for one.
Yeah.
Jokes for one dot wave.
Mine's actually jokes for one.txt.
Exactly. Oh, thank you. Excuse me. And that's honestly when I'm still looking at this venture casual walnut skin, and now thinking about the rolled up newspaper thing, or I'm like, it's just so funny. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you don't get it, if you're just like, oh, it looks like paper, and being like, no, she's whacking people, like, no, bad.
Bonk. Bonk,
Yeah,
bonk,
she's
bonk.
bonking them. I love it.
But like, going back to the Theros thing though, real quick, like you were just like, who would notice this? I could very much be wrong here, because it was a few years ago now. I had a D&D podcast at the time with my sister-in-law when that book came out, and we talked about it. And I am like 80% sure I called out those constellations specifically for how cool they were.
Cool. I'm like still in awe of like that sort of collaborative process that we get to do, where it's like going through layers of like creative filtration, where someone's like, ooh, yes, and this.
Yeah.
Like,
or my favorite one, I was just like, wait, we can do that?
Honestly, I always say this about like, I like to say I'm a support class at work, like in the work that I do. And it's like, you know, I'm definitely not tank type. And sometimes I'll do DPS. I think DPS for me in my position would be like when I have to like export a lot of assets in a week. Like I have to do like 100 things in a week.
Yeah.
But like if I can make the base for something and then like pass off to someone else so that they can do like their work on it, and then like it really does, I'm like, oh wow, look, we're making the thing, and then we're kind of like being like an adventuring party while we're doing it. And then usually that's the point where you know, people are like, all right, well, Trystan, you're very excited about this JPEG we're making. And I'm like, yes, I am. Too excited.
It is always an awesome feeling to be excited about your work.
It is.
Yeah. So I did want to bring this up because last year there was the Hero Feast book that came out, and y'all did interviews, and your answer of like what D&D monster would you want to eat?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you're referencing this interview I did with Todd Kenrick, who, shout outs to Todd, love him. The prompt was like, what do we think different monsters taste like in Forgotten Realms?
Yeah.
No. And I like made a flavor profile chart, and I didn't know what other people's answers were. So we're filming it, and I was like, oh yeah, I think an Almirage tastes like flaming hot Cheetos, like for sure, definitely. And then I go to see like what other people answered, and they like Justice had a totally different way of answering, like was talking about like, oh, maybe this is how we would prepare it, or like, oh, we wouldn't eat like a thing that can do math. And I was like, oh yeah, I think like a beholder tastes like just like a wet couch on the side of the road or whatever. I was just like, internally, I had so many people coming up to me and being like, that was really funny. And I was like, oh my God, I was being so serious. I was like, my brain processes things in exactly one way.
Yes.
I was asked.
You gave an assignment. I did the assignment. What is the joke?
I did the assignment. I don't know if I understood the assignment, but I certainly did it. No, I love that video. I'm really glad that we have that. It was really fun to just like have an interesting prompt about like, let's think about monsters in a different way, which is great.
The reason I bring this up is because I wanted to add on to this question, which is, what D&D monster do you think Walnut would want to try that she hasn't already?
That she hasn't already. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I'm sure she's gotten annoyed with plenty of squirrel and has revenge eaten them. Certainly. She is a creature like me that runs purely on spite. but if she could
What
eat
what yeah, what's the forbidden candy
oh
for
my
Walnut?
gosh. I feel like Modron, right? Like it would have to be something like
Oh,
mechanical that she'd like that they're like, oh, you can eat this thing that's like for a druid pretty blasphemous.
I
My
like that.
God. Yeah. I think figuring out how to eat a Modron and then being like, it's a delicacy, and then being like, oh no. But I got to. But like I got to. It's not part of the natural world, really.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It's true. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. Okay. This last question I got here. Lil Bird told me to bring this up, and I
Yeah.
thought it was so appropriate because we just literally just I think last week we finished up the Xerixis adventure,
Oh,
and there are so many space fish in there. Like I cannot tell you how many times I've written space guppies
I
and
love
space
them.
eels.
Oh my gosh, the Kindori, the beautiful
Oh well,
whales. Like
oh my gosh, yes.
I love Spelljammer.
But this prompt got me thinking about that, and it was fishing nets that I that you have
Mm-hmm.
you said special interest in earlier.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I would say it. Well, I said earlier that I'm from a fishing village, which my best friend in the world loves to be like, "Oh, Tristan's from a fishing village." Has he told you this minute? Which, it's like a I'm reaching to the hyperfixation corner, and
hey,
pulling up the Book of Knots
oh,
and pulling the stuff that I make the knits with. And then also there's the twine. And that's all just within reach in case I need it at a moment's
at a
notice.
moment in case a fish comes flying through, got
Yeah,
it.
no, it's like, oh my gosh, no, I like so I work on a computer, right?
Hmm.
A lot of it. And clearly I play a lot of video games. I would love to play more D&D, but it's just not my
The
schedule's not set up for it
the
right now.
greatest final boss, the schedule.
I know. So I really love to have hobbies that are not looking at a screen. And what's more
Hmm.
not looking at a screen than working on like different types of knots and making nets, and it's honestly it's just like very therapeutic. But no, it's actually a thing like my grandfather used to do. I actually have my great grandfather's like old like sailor's fid that you would use to like splice rope together. So it really is
That's
like
cool.
today on a very special interest. So yeah, I was told that he used to listen to classical music and mend nets. And so
That's
I was like,
badass.
yeah, I know, right? Where I'm like, hell yeah. I want to do that. And
Yeah.
then, what do I do with them? Not anything as badass as like actually using them. Um, but I look at them. I like that.
Well, that is my question. Like, do you go out and use these, or is this just the hobby that like gets you away from the screen?
Do you know, it's this new thing. Do you know that you can like just like making stuff and then you don't have to like the end result or do anything with the end result? And really, I was gonna say hot topic, wrong. Hot take. You also don't have to monetize it. So it's just like a thing that I like
Okay,
doing just for
you don't
me.
you don't need to call me out like that. Okay, you do.
I was suffering. This was me. This was me being like, hey, I should do something that's like just for me. And like if I don't finish it, I don't finish it. And if I do finish it, great. And like I have like the nets you could like put stuffed animals in and like hang in the
Yeah,
corner of your room. Like, yeah, you can do that. People use them as like fruit bowls. I don't know.
yeah.
I just like it.
So do you just have like the collection of ones that you finished, or?
Yeah, you can also like you can like there's ones that you can like make knots that like you just keep doing until they turn into like big placemats, or like entryway rugs, that type of stuff. It's all the same sort of
Yeah.
working with your hands. Yeah, no, this is really Marge Simpson holding up the potato. I just think they're neat.
But here's the thing. I feel like I'm the weird one here. From just like, so you just do it because you enjoy it, like.
Oh, trust me, it's foreign to me too. Like it sounds like a thing a therapist would tell me to do, and then I would be like, I'll do that, and then I don't. And
Yeah.
then but this I actually do.
Well, now I'm being like,
I
well, maybe
know.
I need to do that. Well, not fishing that specific, but I'm like, maybe I need to find something to do that's just to
Just for
do
you.
it.
I mean, some people, they like walking their dog extra long and just like smelling the air. You know, it turns this is my I have to go outside and like just like kind of like zone out, is like I just need to maybe just like tie some knots and some cotton cord for a minute.
I think that's great. Yeah, because God knows there's not really anything getting me out.
Here's the thing though, we talked about all of this like very nerdy stuff about like D&D, we're talking about wargaming, we're talking about what is Christian Bale's persona, like all of this stuff that's like so deep in the nerdery, and then the minute that I'm like, sometimes I just like to tie knots. Even me in my own head, I'm like, that's really nerdy. Are you sure you want to say that out loud? What do we want, you know?
Nerd culture is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, it's an application of a love and a passion, not necessarily, you know, it's not about the implementation in every place. God. Yikes.
But no, you generally making me say, like, I don't really just have a thing that I'm like, I just do this that's not attached to a screen or anything.
Yeah, some people it's over planning as the DM for the session. That's like their bliss. And they're like, this is just for me. No one needs me to prepare this much, but I just do it.
Yeah, that used to be me. And then I realized I was just essentially outlining a book. So I've made the conscious effort to not do that.
Hey, why postpone joy? If it brings you joy now, I say, and doesn't hurt anybody, I say, maybe think about it.
I love it. Well, Trystan, thank you so much for taking time with me today to talk about all of these incredible D&D things and the tangents that we went on.
Oh my God, so many wonderful tangents. Thank you so much.
If folks wanted to find you and what you do on the interwebs, where can they do so?
Oh my gosh. One, don't find me on the internet. No, just
no.
I'm not on.
No, real
talk.
If you said
right now,
that,
really.
if you said that, I would give you the most amount of props possible because I think that's a big mood.
To be real, I'm actually not on socials right now. You can find me and the work that I love to do anytime a new thing comes out. You know, hey, when you look across a D&D table and you're enjoying time with your friends, kind of there I am. So. That's really it.
I love that.
Yeah, struggling to be more offline a little bit. So here we are.
I fully endorse it. I'm doing a similar thing. Despite the fact that we're on the internet right now, but you know, whatever.
This is okay. This is contained. You know what? Yeah. This is between us and the audience and no one else.
All right, well, you know, go out there, buy some D&D products, look at the very incredible graphic design work on every single page, thanks to Trystan and all his work. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Idle Insight. So until next week, take care of yourself.